It's so good to see y'all. Y'all look beautiful.
Yeah, pink.
Shy. We have our next speaker, Miss Shy Speaks. She's awesome. We got to hear her last week.
Yes, we heard her at the Cedar Hill Luncheons last week, all of our girls. She really spoke to us. She really took that time. So if y'all girls would just give her your respect, listen to her message,
Yes.
listen to what she has to say. She's going to do an incredible
Shy,
job.
Shy, if you'd like to introduce yourself, and then we'll get on to your spoken word.
All right, thank
All
you.
right, Shy, you want to intro?
Good morning, ladies. All right. Oh, that one sounded real good. All right, so let me go right into it, okay? When I think about the term years and wonder, the wonder years, I couldn't stop but to think and ponder like, oh, vowels do make a difference. And I'm not just talking about letters and sentences, I'm talking about sentences of conviction, vowels. Because wonder and wonder are two different words. One is to walk aimlessly, the other one is to walk in amazement. The question that I have for you by the end of my time is, which one will you do? Now, if you're from the class of 2002, 2023, no, not 2002, 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025, you're here and you're glad to be alive, let me hear you make some noise. Now, I wanted to ease in calmly, because I know that some of you guys have never seen me before, so I want you to get used to the deep voice, the gap, all these types of things that you're noticing, But before I go into I'm so happy to be here, and before I go into the spoken word pieces that I've came with on my heart to share with you today, I actually want to make sure I got your respect, and y'all know like I'm really a real creative, a real lyrical person, all right? So I'm gonna just spit a little something, and if you like it, act like you know, all right? I woke up with that dog in me, feeling like I'm Westbrook. Braun when he booming and Pacquiao with his left hook. E.T. when he's speaking and patting his chest with passion. Black girl magic, now all I need is a Latin. This knee lands on the floor when I go and speak to the Lord. I say I'm grateful for everything. I'm just hungry for more. Watching all of my gifts shift me and lift me to places, into rooms full of people who all got powerful faces. Know my positions beside them, that's what I see though, Poseidon. A little Greek mythology for my nerves to be riding. Yeah. Yeah, my flow Aquaman, you can't stop it, man. I've been cooking with no pots and pans. I use plots and plans, so you looking at strategy. Don't be mad at me and when I shake up, it wasn't overnight, but your sleepover. Wake up. Y'all came to have some fun. I'm just getting warmed up. Can I warm up a little bit more? I treat the world as artist, advocate, activist, all like that one adjective. Actually, I actively play acrobats with these alphabets. I said, I treat the words artist, advocate, activist, all like they're one adjective. Actually, I actively play acrobats with the alphabets. Let me remind you back, gotta say something simple. When I smile, I'm going in like a dimple. I get tired of those same lines. I get tired of those lame rhymes. It's game time, I'm going for a big clothes like I'm Lane Bryant. All I do is win, win, win. That's word to my Asian friends. I said all I do is win, win, win. That's word to my Asian friends. Like even when I get tired, I just catch a second win. There's too many people to reach. Y'all get it? Win, N-G-Y-U. Y'all know about that, right? There's too many people to reach. From Dallas to Australia, way too many to impeach. Yes, too many, I tell you. They out here acting gangster, trying to move work in these streets. Well, I'm talking to politicians, trying to move work in these streets. I'm saying I'm different. And you probably think I'm the same, but I'm a whole oxymoron by the way of my name. Hello, I'm Shy Speaks. like I'm really, really, really legit. Y'all fun. I'm happy y'all are having a good time, and I'm really, really excited to be here. I know that you guys have been here this entire time, and you've probably heard from some of the prolific panelists, prolific speakers, great breakout games, and all of it is to tell you how amazing you are, how radiant you are, how much potential you have, and everybody here is speaking well of you and speaking up to you. But I know, because I spend a lot of time with youth, that everybody is not always doing this. This is kind of abnormal. Many of you have people in your lives who speak down to you. And I actually want to give you a little message on how to navigate that. This poem or spoken word that I'm about to present is entitled Rise. Let me hear you say rise. Rise. Teens and tunes both start with the letter T and apparently have a lot in common. I say that because I set out on a search for a list of things that are the common struggles for teens, and it read almost like an autopsy. It didn't read like, here are a list of things that your teen can overcome. More like, here are all the reasons why your teen is done. All that was missing was the dun, dun, dun. But in my head, I heard the voice of 500 teen girls screaming, why? Why, bro, why? Why am I surrounded by people who think that I am destined for destruction and doomed? Which took me back to the word tune. But anyway, this article, it said, even for the most self-assured person, I mean, they struggle with confidence from time to time. But it's exceptionally hard for teens due to their lack of maturity and perspective. I read it like, ouch. And then I read the rest. The article spoke about the seriousness of stress, depression, anxiety, self-harm, as if these were things teens were doing to intentionally embalm themselves for their burials. And then it talked about violence and bullying, as if these are things that you were doing to pull yourself along like a pallbearer in a rock-solid casket called trust issues towards a stony cemetery on the Lack of Motivation Boulevard. It said that in the old days, teens couldn't wait to get a career and start a life of their own, but for today's teen, this seems to be exceptionally hard. Again, ouch. The water of that article read half empty, but it was crystal clear and made a hard case that this generation is stuck between a rock and a hard place. You, and you are seemingly surrounded by bricks and stones like tombs. But it's not what I see. You see, in order to see what I see, I had to stop reading that article. I ditched it and set out on a search for a new list of things that rise. Because in order to get that out of my head, I had to read something else and think something else. And this is what the new article read. It said air, wind, water, waves, heat, sun. I'm saying things, a list of things that rise are air, wind, water, waves, heat, sun. And then it dawned on me that nothing that naturally rises is man-made and you were created by God, which means that you have the natural ability to rise. So rise like the air, rise like the wind, rise like the waters, rise like the waves, rise like the heat, rise like the sun, rise like the sun, rise like the sun. No, I am begging you to believe that you as a teen can rise from the tomb like the I know some of you are thinking, how can I rise when I am surrounded by destruction and doom? How can I rise when I am surrounded by walls? I keep hitting walls, destruction and doom. If you've seen what I've seen, ma'am, by the time you were a teen, you would understand why half of my dreams are already in a tomb. And I hear you. Oh, trust me, I do. I know that it gets hard. That's why I come and bring you my words. I bring you my heart. I bring you my affection. So that the next time you hit a wall, you can realize that it is not a point of rejection, but a point of redirection. You see, walls are like wonder. They're what you make of them. You can paint them beautifully with love into a mural and look upon it, looking up, thinking to yourself, some kind of way I'm feeling inspired and starting to believe in the power of resurrection. But anyway, if you're ever between a rock and a hard case, if you're ever between a rock and a hard place, I want you to remember this moment as leverage. I want you to remember this moment as introspection. And I want you to rise, 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 so that teens and tunes have no formal connection. Thank you. I got time for one more? Because I don't want to just lean in on Toy. I don't want to just end on Rise, because Rise is great. I hope they'll understand that I'm saying, but I'm saying rise above those bricks, those stones, those things that you feel like surrounding you with destruction and doom, what feels like it's packing you into death and packing you into a tomb. I want them to rise above that, but it's still kind of like somber. I want them to end on what this entire program is all about. It's the Inspired Schools program. I want you to live inspired. Somebody say inspired. Inspired. Everybody say inspired. Inspired. Everybody over here say inspired. Inspired. Over here say inspired. And then say inspired. Okay. Okay, y'all want some more? Yeah. Okay. Inspired. Oh, y'all ready? Okay, y'all want to let them do this like this? If y'all want me to keep going, let me hear you say yep. If you want me to keep going, let me hear you say yep, yep, yep. If you want me to hear y'all right here, I'm nuts. They think they got it. I want y'all in this section. If y'all want to keep going, let me hear you say yeah, 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 yeah. Again, I need to be able to Waxahachie teachers, I don't know who's here. I need them to go with me wherever I go, because they are bum.com. Give it up for the person next to you on the right and to the left for just being there. My last piece is going to hopefully leave you inspired. The poem is entitled Whatever It Takes. Whatever It Takes. That's the title of the poem. What's the title of the poem? Whatever It Takes. Now, the way this is going to happen is, instead of me doing it by myself, we're going to do it as a group piece. Now, if you were ever to go to a slam or an open mic and 3 or more poets walked up on the stage, not 2 because that would be a duet, but if 3 or more walk up, all the poets in the back would say group piece. So we're about to do a group piece. All right? So you got to be paying attention, because what's going to happen is I'm going to say something and you're going to say something. When I say whatever, you say it takes. Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. Now you got to be paying attention, because I'm a rapper and I talk real fast, and the next thing you know, I throw in a whatever it takes. I'm just saying, I know I missed some of y'all over there. Now you got to be paying attention, because I'm also not just a rapper, but I'm a poet, and I like to pause for dramatic effect. Say things like fecundity and euphemism, and then say whatever. Oh, she's smart. A long life journey. We cross paths with all sorts of people now. We've been taught that people are equal, but equal does not mean same. You see, some people have friends, some people fame. Some people take responsibility for their actions. Some people place blame. Some people will always, some people will never. Some people say, I care, and other people say, man. Whatever. Nah, see, y'all just trying to anticipate. Some people say, man, whatever. It takes. First, I stumbled across a sir who was stumped by the stupors of life. He'd been stifled, stuck up with no rifle. His bank account was on a freeze. This was a poverty stick-up. It is as if he was holding his poverty stick up, picketing and parading around saying things like, I already know, you know what I'm saying, I'm poor. Every day that I wake up, I have to scrape up if I really want to do whatever to get this money. He said, I got tired of being broke, looking bummy, making excuses like, nah, I ain't gonna be able to go. You know my money looking a little funny. He said, so I hustle. I'll sell anything for a profit. Eat, stolen cars, TVs, pills. Now, when he said it, I caught the chills. And I said, sir, why won't you just get a job? He said, oh, trust me. Trust me, I've tried. But what am I supposed to do? Peruse around the corporate office, sucking up to Uncle Tom in hopes to cruise up the corporate ladder. Meanwhile, allowing my confidence to be bruised because I'm black and they still won't move me. So, ma'am, whatever. It takes what, sir? Too much action? No movie? So I politely asked him to excuse me and I kept traveling along life's path, thinking to myself like, wow, man, that was bad, but whatever. And then I staggered across a sir who was seasoned for success. I said I staggered across a sir who was seasoned for success. He'd been seared by life's heat, but obviously refreshed like a plate full of vegetables and meat, well dressed. I guess you could say that he was well groomed. But according to statistics and the odds, he was well doomed to be a poor, uneducated criminal, just like his father. But this guy wanted so much more. I staggered across them at a store asking the manager if they were hiring. She said, sir, what are you looking for? He said, ma'am, I'm willing to do whatever to get this job. He said, see, I'm trying to pay for these 2 college courses to be an air traffic controller because when I was a little boy, I wanted to teach people how to fly. Now I see that look in your eye, and I know that this sounds like a dream, but I believe it can happen. I don't have a lot of experience, but I have good skills, so I never get hired. And she said, son, why won't you just give up? He said, oh, trust me. He said, trust me, I've tried. But there's something deep inside of me that's willing to do whatever it takes. He said, I have vision. I see myself being a loving husband and providing for my children. I know government assistance is cool, but I want that to be the story of my life. And quite frankly, I'm on a mission and it's possible. No movie. Now, pause. I was just an onlooker to both of those conversations. But those are the type of conversations that moved me and inspired me to stand before you today to help you see yourself in a different way. So put your hands over your chest and say, I said, put your hands over your chest and say, I said, don't make me go, mama. Put your hands over your chest and say, I'm willing to do whatever it takes. No more procrastination. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. No more excuses. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. In my pursuit of happiness. No movie. Thank you guys for listening. My name is
You guys, wasn't she awesome? I had the privilege and the honor to she's like such a fashionista. Your outfit last week was like fire, and then I was like looking at it today, and I was like, oh my god, okay, thank you. I see you with all the prints. So here, you want? We're actually going to. We're almost. You guys, who's ready to eat? I'm also ready to eat. So we won't be here for too long, but real quick, I just want to ask, since Shai is here, I want to ask her a couple questions, and then we will move to you guys asking questions as well. Shai, are you ready?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I'm so excited. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your story? Because I know your story and I got to hear it last week, but I know that they don't know that. So if you would share just a little bit of your story, and then we'll go into how did you become a poet and a fashionista and just who you are today.
All right, first of all, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, but my name is Shy. I'm artistically known as Shy Speaks. That's at Shy Speaks on Instagram, okay? For those of you guys who want to keep in touch, or for those of you guys who speak. Now, aside from that shameless plug, I want to say like a little bit about me is I'm from Dallas. I'm actually from a little part in Dallas that you guys probably know of as Oak Cliff. See, you guys want to make me act like this. I'm trying to be today. So anyway, I am from there, but the thing is I'm not just from a particular area. I was actually born to parents who were on drugs. And so I am what you call a crack baby. I never knew my mother in her natural state. I've never seen her in her right mind. My cousins and my aunties tell me, your mom used to be like this, and your mom used to be like that. And I can only know her through their memories, but I've never known her in her natural state. I don't know my father's name. I never know him. And so I was born into poverty. By the time I was like 9 years old, I had went to 3 elementaries. I was moved around a little bit. I was able to stay with my family. My family raised me as a village, but I mean, I was already born into adversity, and some of you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. That's a little bit about me. And then I was born into a musical family, though. And being born into the musical family, everybody knows early on if you can sing or play. Like everybody, like all my cousins can sing or play some type of musician. Don't let them fool you. They may look totally like you can't do a thing, but put them in front of something, they can play, right? And so I found my love for music very early, but it wasn't until later that I found my voice. But that's a little bit about me.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I wanna go deeper a little bit into your story. So most of what we talk about is our attitude and the way that we look at life, right? If you guys have, everybody in this room has had me in a classroom because I teach at both high schools. And so you guys know a little bit of my story with my dad relapsing 2 years on drugs. And so I know a little bit of what that's like to have a parent on drugs and how that can affect your attitude, but also how that can affect your life. I remember when I was happening, I couldn't see past that situation. So how did you, growing up in that, how did you see past that situation and see, I don't want to say see into the future, but how did you see into the future of like, okay, this is going to get better?
That's a good question. I want to say for those who have adversity that they may have been born into or just recently stumbled upon, like you were saying, it's not just for parents who are on drugs. I noticed, I found that when I had an opportunity to go to San Diego and perform for a group of teens there, but they were all teens whose parents were prisoners previously, incarcerated or something like that. So anyway, I just want to say any type of random circumstance like that can play on your mind. But one of the things that I learned very early on when I was a little girl, probably about 12, somebody say 12. 12. Anybody in here 12? No, right? So that means you can grasp this concept. When I was about 12 years old, I remember hearing all the statistics that they say would befall some young lady who doesn't have a dad. I know they say statistics who don't have dads wind up becoming what y'all trying to say in y'all mind? They would say girls who have bad relationships with their mother become. They would say people who are born into poverty become. They would say people who are born in the inner city or in the ghetto and they were going to become. And there were all these negative statistics. And I don't know, something hit me with all those odds stacked against me. And I was like, again, I was about 12, and I said, I'm going to defy all of those odds. Like, I'm going to some kind of way wind up not being any one of those statistics. And so what I want to encourage some of you guys to do is actually find whatever it is that you're going through. It may be similar to what she and I are going through or anything like that. It may be even a health issue. It could be anything it could be a diagnosis of any sort. Find out what the negative your fuel to rise above that statistic, all right?
Yeah. And that's one thing that we've talked about in our classes is like letting your pain kind of like fuel your purpose and letting it like, okay, I was brought into a horrible circumstance that I can't fix, but how can I let this changed the trajectory of my life for the good. So I really love that. And so, okay, I want to take you kind of now into the creative route. Do I have any creatives in the room? You would consider yourself, okay, a few of you guys. All right, so my creatives. So you grew up in a musical family. As growing now as a creative, how do you set yourself apart from other creatives?
Okay, so for me, the way I found my voice was through therapeutic writing, right? I was journaling, and when I would journal, I would actually write in sometimes poetic prose. Sorry for sounding like I'm in English class, this is just how I talk, okay? Y'all, poetic prose, next thing I'm gonna say haiku, right? But anyway, I would journal when I was younger, and as I was journaling, I started writing kind of in a poetic prose way, and I would go back and read it like, okay, this sounds all right, this kind of sounds pretty good. Like I could share this with somebody and they may think it's good, I don't know. And so that was kind of how it started for me. So I definitely want to encourage people to therapeutically write. Writing helps you release so many emotions. But for me, how I set myself apart is through what I write about. So for me, I am a hip hop artist, I'm a spoken word artist, but I am a message driven artist, right? So I could probably rap with the best of them, but they rap about all kinds of craziness, right? Whereas me, I take personal, like, I take it very personal to write in such a way that I can leave audiences feeling inspired, feeling empowered, feeling like they can get up and go, feeling like they can overcome. And so I differentiate myself by what I say, not necessarily how it sounds.
So how did you, taking from that, how did you become comfortable enough with sharing your story and the things that you went through? Because that is not an easy thing. I know for me, like growing up and a lot of the things that I grew up with, right? Y'all see me in classrooms and I'm like very open. I'm like, yo, here's all my crap, here's all my story, here's everything. And it took a lot of work. How did you, girl, if you let me, we can sit here for a long time and talk. But
Oh, they gotta eat.
how did you get to that comfortability of sharing your story?
You know, I am, believe it or not, my name is not just shy, I am really shy. I was like a really shy little girl that could be doing all this stuff at home, and then whenever the parent takes them out, they're like, oh, do the thing, and then all of a sudden I clamor, and then they think that they're lying, like, she can't do nothing, right? And so I was really like that, but as I began to write and I started finding my voice, I started sharing with people who I could trust first, and they were like, this is really, really good, right? And so after I shared it with a small group of people, I started realizing there's a group of people who my art can resonate with, right? And so instead of me focusing on me and how I feel, like if I'm nervous or if I feel uncomfortable, if I don't want everybody looking at me and they're gonna judge this or say that, I try to like block all of that out of my head, and I think about the creativity that I've been given and who it's for, who can benefit from it, right? And so that sometimes we hold stuff in thinking, well, you're just one person, but if you release it, it could be hundreds of people who are blessed by what it put out. So.
That's really awesome. I love that. I'm such like a big advocate for like, hey, share your story, tell your story. You don't know how that is going to influence and help somebody around you. So real quick, let's do, we have enough time for about 2 questions. We'll do one from Waxahachie and then one from Red Oak. And then I want you to end with just like a little piece of advice to all of the beautiful young women in this room. And so let's go. Yes, do you want to? Oh. Let's go 1 question, and we'll go with you since you're already gonna know.
That's a good question.
All right, so the question was, did I ever have anybody to confide in when I was going through all those things? I confided in my journal, no. I know something like, right, because I don't trust nobody. Look at y'all.
We always tell y'all journal.
Journal. I didn't even know you were saying that. This is just what I was. Okay, so but yeah, I did have one somebody that I could kind of confide in. But the crazy part is he was born into an adverse situation. His mom is legally blind, and so his mom was blind. I don't know my dad. Like he didn't know. We kind of actually had a shared, somebody who could relate to me. to where, and it's actually a cousin of mine who's about my age, and so I would confide in him because I knew he understood and he knew I understood. But honestly, we didn't spend a whole lot of time talking about the negativity of our circumstance. We spent a lot of time dreaming about how we could like overcome it and where we would be in the future, because we both already could look at each other in the eye and be like, yeah, we can get it. I know, I understand. So yeah, that's a good question.
That's awesome. Redo. Okay, with the glasses, like in the front. Yeah.
Ooh, she said, she's a poet too. A shout out to all my secret poets over here who haven't revealed themselves like she has. And she said that how do you know when you get to an end of a poem, right? So poetry is the best, now I gotta go real creative mode, right? Music, songwriting, right? So I have plenty of songs out there. Shout out to Red Oak. I didn't realize this was Red Oak. I'm sorry, Red Oak. Okay, so I have, when you write a song, right? How do you know you're at the end of a song? Well, a song usually comes to a resolve. That's what we call it in those who play instruments. It has to, you resolve the note, right? And so when you're writing something and you're past the point of tension, right? You know, you write and you can feel the tension. It's like a playwright or something like that. You feel the tension of what you're writing. Once you're past the point of tension and it's starting to like kind of get to a place of like resolve, or even if you don't resolve or conclude it, like I've answered it for you, but you can leave it to where you know the audience is gonna feel like, or the audience is gonna feel like, aha. That's how you know you've reached the end of a poem or song. I feel like it's only fair to let someone in this section answer.
One person in this section. Anybody? Questions?
Okay. She said, how did you know that you really wanted to pursue like being a poet or being a rapper and all that kind of stuff? Like I said, I was born into a musical family, so I didn't have a choice but to do music. Everybody was in the choir, right? But the way I knew that I wanted to do it was because at some point where it was something that I didn't want to share, it became something that was in demand, right? So whatever it is your creative gift is, you know, like maybe you could sew or maybe you make clothes and then all of a sudden people keep saying, oh, can you sew me this? Can you make me this? Or oh, can you? At some point when people just keep demanding it lets me know that it's something that is being able to be of benefit to others. And so once I started, I would go and speak, or I would go into spoken word, and afterwards students would say, or the audience would say, do you have a CD? Do you have, I can tell you can sing, or you can rap, do you have music out? And so because of the demand that they were asking for it, I decided to continue to create to help meet the demand. And once I kept doing that, and I started realizing, oh, I'm making more money doing this than I was doing in my career, you know, because I went to college and I had a career and all that, and I started making more of that. I said, you know what, I would rather spend my time being creative and benefiting people than just trying to line my pockets through a career job. And so that's how I knew.
That's awesome, that's awesome. Well, Shai, if you could just leave us with like a really short and really some advice for these students that they can take home with them today.
All right, that's a really, really good question. I want to say this. I have an idea to write a book. And the book that I want to write is all about being undefeated, right? How to champion the challenges that you've been faced with. And remember I said that when I was 12 years old, how old was I? 12. When I was 12 years old, I kind of came up with this mindset of like how to overcome all these negative statistics, right? Statistics. If I know the statistic and I know what somebody said is gonna befall me, I'm gonna be intentional to live above that. And so then throughout that process, I developed like what I would call 5 keys to conquer anything, right? So I know everybody in here has something that they need to conquer, whether it's something that's external or something internal. So here are the 5 keys. So number 1, with whatever problem you are facing, you have to first identify it as a problem. Nobody else can identify it for you. You know, I know people can say, girl, you know that boyfriend you got, he's no good for you. He is cheating on you with everybody here, and you can't see it until It's like that. Don't look to the left or to the right. Don't nobody look to the left. But they're trying.
I'm looking at students, I'm like,
And everybody can, everybody else around you can see it, but you have to identify the problem from within, right? And it's not just about some boyfriend-girlfriend relationship thing, but whatever the problem is, you have to be able to identify it. That's number one. Number two, you have to decide within yourself that you're going to conquer it, right? Again, that's not a decision that somebody else can make for you. Right, nobody else can make that decision for you. Like I'm saying, I know for a fact that I want to rise above all these negative statistics. And then here's what we do. When we make the decision to say, okay, I'm gonna be an overcomer, what we do is we decide one day, okay, I woke up today and I decided. And then after that, I did it for a little while, but it's not working. But it's not working, I'm trying this. Well, you have to continuously decide every day. It's a daily decision to be undefeated. Number three, some of you guys say, I have decided, I am deciding daily, and nothing is I'm not cracking it, it's not breaking. And that's because you're coming up with a standard solution. You may have to come up with a creative solution. You got to think a little bit outside the box sometimes to solve a problem. And sometimes, by being creative, you have to go and find information. There's some information that's between where you are and where you want to be. And so don't just be standard okay, I'm trying, I keep going to school every day. You're showing up for school every day, but you're not doing your homework. So you may want to try to do that, But I'm saying those are things. And then the last thing, and this is the most important thing, because I know people say this all the time. They say, you are who you hang around. And who you hang around, they're going to negatively influence you. But I know, in my mind, I had slightly smart mouth when I was a teenager. And I'd be like, you're not going to influence me? Anybody in here feel like that? Be honest, right? Okay, cool. Negatively, they're not going to negatively influence. And you have in your mind that they're not going to negatively influence you. Even if you're right, listen to this. The number 5 thing you have to, the 5th thing you have to do is you have to link up with other overcomers. You have to link up with other people who are trying to be undefeated. Because just because somebody, can y'all hear me and talk at the same time? Ooh, she from a clip. Okay, listen. All right, so anyway, but no, seriously, this is very important because you may think they're not going to negatively influence me, but are they a champion? Are they undefeated? Are they an overcomer? So no, they may not be negatively pulling you away, but are they pushing you? You're only going to go as far as somebody can push you. It's one thing to not be drawn back, but it's another thing to be around friends who push you, who want to make you get your grades up, who make you want to get your GPA up, who make you say, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and go submit for these scholarships. Because there's a difference in being around people who can negatively influence you and intentionally being around people who draw out the best in me. So find yourself trying to find people who you feel will help you champion where you want to go. So don't worry about not being pulled back. Worry about linking yourself up with people who push you forward. Cool?
thank you so much, Sophia. A round of applause to Sean.
Make sure y'all follow me now so we can stay in touch.
Yes, let's make sure y'all follow her on Instagram. Okay, who's ready to eat?
When you
ready to eat? So, some instructions. Remember, like I said, on your tag, you have a green sticker or whatever color sticker you have, and that is where you are going to be seated and you are going to eat. So if everybody just stay seated, because I'm going to kind of release you guys as you go. I'm going to release you guys by number. So can I have tables 57 and 66? Y'all see Susanna in the back? Y'all are gonna follow Susanna and
All right,
Eric.
guys, so
Tables 57 and 66.
I just finished. I actually had a really good
57
time
and
doing that.
66.
And these students were,
What?
they were fun to me.
50, if your table's 57 through 66. So 58, 59, so on and so on. 59, 60, 61.
I feel like I've been up there
62, 63, 64,
But it was probably only 30 minutes of my
65,
life.
and
But
66.
when you talk for 30 minutes straight with this deep voice,
So your
it's hard.
tables.
Autograph. Oh my
66.
Okay, come over here and meet me. I'm live. I want you to meet my people. Hey. Okay, she said she want to get an autograph. Thank you so
headed
much. I
to
appreciate it.
Susanna.
You want me to sign your?
You guys, I just want to reiterate that to please.
You want to say I
please-
met her one day? Oh, that means you make me feel
Don't get
good.
those phones.
Anyway,
Come on, give
I
respect
appreciate
to our table hosts.
Thank you.
Listen out to them, talk to them, hang out with them.
Make sure you stay in
Right,
touch,
let's
okay?
give everybody a hug. So what we're gonna do is this section right here. You're gonna go ahead and y'all see Kaylee. You're gonna follow Kaylee, and Kaylee's
So,
gonna put you in the right direction.
this
So
point,
this section, go ahead.
They are. Let's see, where are we in the program? I'm in the agenda. Boom. I think you just had Shot Speaks, and we had Shot Speaks do an interview. Oh, well, yeah, that's what they're doing. They're dismissing the tables for lunch, and then we're going to do lunch from 11:30 to 12:25, and then after that, we're going to wrap up lunch and move to like rooms. So I am going to be also not only just being a presenter and an interviewer. I'm also going to I get to host the table, which means that I get to sit and have lunch with a specific group of people. So when I first checked in, I was given this. And the way Inspired Schools does it is they make sure you get a name tag, you get a table number, and so I get to host that table, which means I get to have an interpersonal.
You guys can go ahead and follow the crowd that
Which
way.
means I get to have an interpersonal conversation with maybe it's 5 or 6 girls at a table. So it's one thing to speak to a mass group of people like this. You know, it's probably 500 girls here, but it's another thing to be able to sit down and talk to 5 of them. And so, yeah, I'm excited to be able to do that. And I want to say thank you guys so much for being tuned in this entire time. If you've been watching the whole time, if you came out and came back in, whatever, or if you're watching this on the replay, thank you for watching all the way to this point. That means you are a real MVP. I would let you come to the conversation, the table conversation. You can come over. I will let you come to the table conversation, but I want to keep it private. Okay.
Hey, I was seeing if you know my parents.
Who's your parents?
Did you perform at the Potter's house one time?
I did.
My
What's your
parents
name?
are Connie and Debo.
Yes.
Yeah, like the big guy with the locks.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Can you take a picture?
Yes, let's do it. Let's take this picture. Debo. Okay.
I was like, Dad, I think she came into the church one time. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's like, tell her my name is Debo. I don't think she know my name is Anthony. Yeah.
Yeah, I know Anthony. He be wanting everybody to think
Yeah,
he
he
Debo.
want everybody to come.
You is not that hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, what
You did
table are
so
you at?
good. 29.
Thank you. Well, okay, so do me this favor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna walk with you too.
Okay.
Tell me what because this is a real live interview right now. Tell me what was the thing that stood out to you most from the conference before we talk about my part, but just overall so far from this morning.
Probably like the people who have their own businesses, like the mom and the daughter. Really, like I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
That like